Yo, it's the Casual Cube here, and I'm going to give you an update video on where my cube is at. I'm aiming for a 400 card cube. I'm trying to make it dynamic so I can play, if I want to play with 2 people, I can, all the way up to 8 people. So I kind of have like a dynamic, weird system going on over here about like how I wanted to design a cube, or my cube at least. So, really, if you want to build your own cube, just kind of, check out Cube Tutor, check out the Reddit, the MTG Cube Reddit, and just do some research. It's really not that hard when you just start looking at kind of the templates of other people's builds. But for me, it's kind of a budget build. If you haven't seen my rough draft video before, there's no need to watch it. But it's kind of what my mentality was of trying to take all of these bulk cards and trying to do something with them. So that's kind of what this is right now. But this is making a lot of cuts, and we're actually down to kind of what the cube is actually going to be. So here's the white section first. Alright, so the white section has 54 cards, 34 creatures and 20 non-creatures, I think. So, nothing too crazy. I do want white to have these early game creatures, kind of make it quick, maybe a Boros kind of style. Now, as you see, Ravnica is coming up, and obviously I have no Ravnica cards. Well, actually, that's a lie. I actually have the promos, because I went to the store championship, but, that's for another video. But where I'm at right now is, these are just some cards from, M19, Almond Kit, a little bit of recent ones, and as well as these like old ones, because M11, these cards, because they're bulk, they're not really needed in any other deck. They kind of send them off into these $25 bulk collections, the Star City Games Gold Collection, for example. And essentially, I just try to take cards like this, which are interesting, and just throw them in here. Trying to make a good, simple, easy to understand beginner cube. And it's nothing high powered. We're not dealing with like Black Lotuses or anything, or even a bunch of mythics or key historical Magic cards. I don't really have. I'm kind of still a beginner in Magic, so kind of building this budget cube is just something that I want to do. Have some for fun with my friends, just to kick it around and play a few games. Anytime we need a board game, we can just bust this out. So as you can see here, I'm not really trying to force too many tribals or anything. I'm trying to keep things general. This is an artifact. I think this is the only artifact payoff in white. I think there's a multicolored card that has artifact payoff, but as you can see, nothing like too crazy. This one, we are going to play with house rules that you tap an allied creature as opposed to just an allied creature type. It's just tap an untapped allied creature you control, and I think that would increase the power level of this card. And I think there's another card that has a similar mechanic with the ally creature type, and we're just going to change it to be more general. So as you can see here, the Serra's Guardian, that's where we cap off. And let's get into the spells. So we got Righteous Blow here. So again, white is all about, a little bit of control, a little bit of white weenie, a couple combat tricks, and going wide, token generators, stuff like that. So I also wanted it to be a little bit of aggro, for example, like this. Go wide. Kind of have white be represented both towards the control spectrum as well as the aggro spectrum. So just trying to, this one I'm not really sure. This one I might throw out, but I do think it's kind of interesting. Maybe have a more defensive build. We'll see how that card plays out. But as you can see, like most of the there's a little bit of lifelink synergy, some token generators, some control effects. So that's where white is at the moment. Okay, so we're going to be getting into blue, and blue again, 54 cards, 31 creatures, 23 non-creatures. And I wanted blue to represent, counter spells, and, more of a slower paced control style. Things like Syncopate. I think I have an Essence Scatter over here, Remove Soul, yeah, that replaced Essence Getter. So, you know, some counter spells over here. And as far as creatures, there's some flyers as well, but I don't really want blue to be known for the 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop going quick. You can splash blue, maybe get some flyers like these, but for the most part I want blue to be more control-ish. But that's not to say I didn't have some flyer early game aggro creatures for blue. So, starting off with Frilled Oculus, it's a 1-3, can be turned into a 3-5, but you have to splash green. So I thought that was interesting. Riddlesmith, Artifact Payoff. So again, these flyers, you know, blue is known for its flyers. Omen Speaker's Wizard. A little bit of tribal synergy with Wizard just because it was easier for me to pull off. This one has Pseudo Prowess. This one does have Prowess, and you can draw a card. So, you know, these cards aren't like, they are early game plays, but for the most part, well, actually, I threw this one in here because I wanted specifically to have kind of this interesting effect where you can build around this. So, you know, maybe blue can be aggro, but, you know, we'll see where it goes. Sailor of Means, just, that's more of a control style, so this one, control-ish. So, you know, blue, this one is actually a little bit more aggro. It's mixed. It really depends on what you want to do with blue, I guess, but mainly blue is going to be known for its counter spells, I think, in this cube. But as far as creatures, a little bit of Artifact Payoff, some Wizards, so, yeah, we'll see where it goes. This one's kind of just a beefy, chunky dude. I thought it was interesting. Unblockable is kind of nice with the Wizard Payoff, so, yeah, that's where Wizards are. I think this is one of my few mythics, and it's because I wanted my Wizards to have a little bit more Wizard potential in the cube, so. And also, it's not an expensive mythic. Just kind of interesting, though. Also, I don't think it's beginner-friendly because of the flash effect, but, you know, and also you do have to copy a spell on the stack, so that's something that they're going to have to digest as a beginner, but, you know, whatever. We'll still include it. Frostwind Invoker, Wizard on a big bird. Has a win con built in. You can use it as a mana pump. 8 mana to use it. Relentless Scabs. This one's pretty beefy. Has Undying. This one's 4/4 flyer. Really like the art on this one. Yeah, so that's the creatures right here. And this one I think is pretty sweet. If you want to go like an Is It crazy, you know, copy instants and sorceries, I think that'd be kind of interesting. So those are the creatures. Let's go into the non-creature spells. This one's just a simple -3 power. You can overload that. Syncopate, Blink of an Eye. This one gives flying. Remove Soul, Disdainful Stroke, Anticipate, Wizard's Retort. Some more counterspell, Divination. This one, I do have auras, enchantments, because there are some cards that have enchantment payoffs in the deck. Thing like that Satyr or Satyr in Multicolored, where you draw a card, or maybe it's an Enchantress. I don't know what it is, but it does have artifact payoff. Also, enchantment payoff. And also there's that Trample guy in red, where if you buff him up, he gets +2/+2 for every equipment and enchantment aura, I think. So you'll see that later. Foresee, just a good card for blue if you want to draw, control your draws. Expensive counterspell, but it is target spell, so this one puts a body, it's a counter creature spell, puts a 2/2 on the field. This one puts a 1/1 on the field with flying, and sleep. And I think that is all for blue. Alright, moving on to black. I actually went with 54 cards again as well. I think I went for all the colors to be 54, but this one has 30, for black, 35 creatures and 19 non-creatures, because a lot of the black spells are really good as far as removal, so I thought I would lighten up the removal a little bit, down to 19 spells and 35 creatures, see how that works out. But yeah, we do have the aggro archetype in black, so you'll see a lot of early game plays. Nothing too ridiculous. This is a kind of interesting card. This one I like too. It is also a wizard payoff, so you know, nothing spectacular as far as like a lot of 1-drops, but you know, we could still try and fulfill that early game archetype. Also, you know, the sacrifice archetype I think can be used in this cube. We'll see where that goes. I do want to have a little bit of sacrifice payoff in the deck, so we'll see how that pans out. Here's some 3-drops. This one, like, has a changeling effect. It's interesting if you do want to have like a tribal effect. We'll see where that goes. Ravenous Harpy, Yahenni, Dead Reveler. So we'll see. This one just seems ridiculous to me. Agent of Fates. So maybe another enchantment aura payoff. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, nothing too spectacular. Obviously, mainly commons and uncommons. This one I like because it rewards you for life gain. I do have some life gain payoff in both black and white, I think. This one is an enchantment payoff. Maybe go crazy with a -1/-1 effect. Here's another life gain payoff. This one I just think is a good big creature for black to, you know, get a 6/5 for 5 mana. It's kind of decent stats, I think, a little bit ahead of the curve. But it does have that bad effect where your opponent, if they have 2 weaker creatures, they can sacrifice them. Vampire Sovereign, Gravewaker, and this Urgro's guy. Oh, and a Necropolis Fiend, that's right. So, yep, those are the creatures. Let's go into non-creatures. So this one is to reward the aggro playstyle. Here's a combat trick. Here's a sacrifice effect. You know, graveyard recursion that black's known for. Here's another removal, -4/-4 for 3 mana. Potentially if you landfall it. This one seems really good to me. Strangling Suit. You can use it twice. Thousand Gloom, life gain synergy, recover, cartouche. Again, another enchantment aura. Doomfall. Murder, good solid removal, Hideous End, Essence Extraction, Raider Spoils, not sure how good this one's going to be, but it does have the general effect of creatures you control get +1/+0. So we'll see if that pans out in the aggro decks. Strangling Spores, Eviscerate, Lich's Caress, Assassin Strike, and Phthisis. Yeah, I'm not gonna try and repronounce that, but it has a suspend effect and it's hollow, or foil, so kind of interesting effect. A lot going on in there. You gotta digest it if you're a beginner player, but yeah, that's black for you. All right, moving on into red. Here's Rigging Runner. Now red's obviously gonna have a lot more 1-drops, kind of represent that aggro playstyle that red is always renowned for. Fanatical Firebrand, Goblin Motivator, get to Lava Runner, Pyromancer, Instigator. This could also be used in Sacrifice, I think. This one has Unleash, what else? Bloodthirst and Menace. This one is, 2 mana, 3/3. I don't think artifacts. It might be an archetype in this cube, but I don't think it's going to be a common one. I might try to build around it. Oh, I definitely want to try and build around this, though. I just think it's going to be fun to try and build around auras and equipment. And from what I've seen from Dominaria drafts, it sometimes works. Get to Chronicler, yep. Yeah, this guy can ramp. This guy has a bunch going on, but you can get bonus mana if you have dropped 6 for the turn. So we'll see how that pans out. And maybe you can potentially use it for this. So this one, you can go wide, create a bunch of tokens. Pia Nalar, Better Snipe, Fervent Cathar, Prodigal Pyromancer. I don't know, I think this is a good choice to throw in because there's a lot of X1s in my cube, and also has the Wizard synergy and the Human synergy, which I think there's only one card that has Human. Oh, I don't know. But, we'll see how this plans out. It is a weak card for 3 mana, but I think it is playable. We'll see how it goes. Oh yeah, here we go. Human creatures you control get +1, so we'll see how that pans out. Blood Ogre, get to Lava Mage, or Journey Mage, Bogart Brute. Yeah, kind of an Is It card. This is a sacrifice, another sacrifice synergy. Oracle Bones could be interesting. Keldon Raider, just a 4/3 with looting in it. Pitchburn Devils, easy to digest as a beginner. Simple card. Wrecking Ogre has double strike, and you can also give it to a creature, which I think is pretty cool. Charging Montresor, and a Volcanic Rambler, just in case you want to have a little bit more of a control deck. Maybe you can use this as your finisher. Alright, that's the creatures. Now let's go into spells. Well, they're all spells, but Weapon Surge has an overload effect. Fire Breathing for the enchantment auras. Shock, of course. Sheeted Fire, just some 1-mana removal. Street Spasm is kind of a board clear, but not really. It's kind of flexible, so I like it. We'll see how it pans out. Flame of Keld. Interesting. For the cube, I think. Lightning Strike. Sea Red. Yeah, so a bunch of auras here. For that, you know, if you do want to go with the aura payoffs, or the enchantment payoffs, which I think is in, you know, also in green, as well as the multicolored. So we'll see where that goes. I think it could be built around, so we'll see. Trumpet Blast, if you want to go aggro. Puncture Blast. Fires of Undeath has flashback. Wizard's Lightning, which are becoming ridiculous in price now, but I still want it in my cube for the wizard payoff. Active Treason, if you want to go sacrifice. Hijack. Electrify. Unfriendly Fire. Punish the enemy. And Explosive Impact. So a bunch of, you know, high-powered burn spells. You know, general removal. This one is obviously to creatures, but some that are flexible. So we'll see if burn can be played out. I did want to include 2 control effects because you might not always be able to draft it, and also just to have more potential for the sacrifice archetype to be, you know, put into the cube. So that's red for right now. Okay, moving on into green. I got an Elvish Mystic as opposed to Llanowar Elves because I'm using them. So I just ordered this off a TCG player. Young Wolf. Could be used in Sacrifice, I think, with Undying. Yeah, we'll see. Gatekeeper Vine. I do have land cards, and I have a bunch of gates, and I might throw in the new gates. Well, actually, I think they're just repeat. Yeah, I think they're just reprints. So I do want the mana fixing, just so we can have maybe double colored, or more consistent fixing, maybe a triple colored decks if could be built. I think I have 2 Evolving Wilds, or like 1 Terramorphic Expand. Well, anyways, I just want this to have some more mana fixing, so I think it'd be a good card to include. Drover of the Mighty. So as you can see here, a bunch of early game land kind of, you know, mana creating abilities for green, because that's kind of what they're known for. Untamed Kavu, you can kick this thing. Crawl Warrior. I decided this one over the Ursine Champion just because you can use this multiple times. And it's also a warrior, which could matter. I think the other one's like a human berserker. Okay, so Drudge Beetle, Insect with Scavenge. Deranged Outcast, could be interesting. Rishkar. I need to get another Whiting Constrictor because I'm using all 4 of mine in a modern kind of just budget energy deck. Trusted Force Mage. Elvish Rejuvenator. So, yeah. I didn't want to go with Elf Tribal. I have 1 Elf Lord, and I didn't want to throw him in there. So I just decided to go with, you know, things that seem kind of green. Like this is a very green creature, has a 4 power, also reduces the cost of, you know, it gives you a ramp for your big power creatures in green, which green is known for having big chunky creatures. And also I wanted a lot of creatures with 4 power for that 1 enchantment. To draw a card, you need a minimum 4 power creature on the board at your upkeep, I think. So this one's going to reward enchantment auras, possibly, so we'll see how that pans out. This is another one of those ally creatures that we're going to change from another ally to another ally creature, just to make it more broad and general, as opposed to the specific creature type. So, and also it could be crazy if once I order my another Constrictor, that's another thing, is my multicolored cards aren't complete yet, so once I get another Constrictor, I can throw this in here, maybe Counter Matters becomes a thing. This is another payoff for auras, so we'll see how that goes out. This one is interesting, you can kick it multiple times. This one provides a win condition, you can pump it up, or pump up anything, target creature. This one you can kick. Rust Scarab, you may destroy target artifact or enchantment, defending player controls. Could pan out, we'll see. Overgrown Armasaur, Dinosaur, and 4/4 for 5 mana, but it does have the built-in, token generator, so we'll see how that works. Scala Wolf, just like the effect. I was thinking about going out and buying all the Planeswalker decks for M19, but I decided not to. But, you know, I think this is one of the cards from the M19 Planeswalker deck that I really liked. I want to throw in the cube. Vigilant Baloth. Colossal Dreadmaw, of course, a 6/6 for 6. Thorn Elemental, super trample. If it gets blocked, you can just redirect all of the damage, assign it to the player. Palaka Worm. And that's the creatures. So here, let's go into the spells. Blossom Defense, Giant Growth, Adventurous Impulse, Rabid Bite, Titanic Growth, Sapperling Migration, Fungal Plots, Talons of Wildwood, Oaken Form, Blanchwood Armor, Colossal Majesty. This is the one I was talking about a little bit earlier. Verdant Heaven, maybe needs some fixing. Some life gain, maybe. Wild Hunger, has that flashback effect. Savage Stomp, a little bit of Dinosaur synergy. Natural End, Grow from the Ashes, Hunt the Weak, Spore Swarm, Return to the Earth, Gutter Grime, which is an interesting card, and Bestial Menace. So that's green for you. Okay, so for my multicolored, my intention is to keep it at 54 cards. Right now I'm at 53. I think that means I need one Winding Constrictor or, you know, one of the Legion Lieutenants for vampires. I wasn't sure what I wanted to throw in here. I'm definitely going to throw in the Constrictor. I might need to make room for the Legion Lieutenant just so if, you know, you want to build vampires, you could. But let's get into where my multicolored's at. So here is, this is from the bulk collection, some additional ramp. Shauna, she's kind of cool. Waldrick Halberdiers. I think this one's very Boros, and you know, it's a 3/2 potential first striker. Shramble Shark. We'll see how this one works. Viashino Fireblade. First Blade. Rona. So, you know, some of these I will potentially swap out with maybe some Ravnica cards. I want to build a Ravnica cube, though. I think that'd be pretty sweet. So we'll see where that goes. But for right now, I'm pretty satisfied with where I'm at. Just with this budget cube build, I think it's going to be fun as you know, a beginner introduction into Magic or into drafting. So going to be real fun to play this. Haven't played it yet with my friends. I'm almost close. I want to sleeve them up. I got to order a bunch of sleeves, and that's going to be a big cost. So, you know, Adeli's over here with the Wizard Synergy. Thought that she was cool. This one's very Golgari, I think, with the Regenerate. We'll see where it goes, though. Well, actually, no, Golgari is more of like the Graveyard Shenanigans, but, you know, I do think Black-Green is kind of cool with the Regenerate effect. Or, yeah, so Light of Sky Knight, kind of a control-ish one. This one, another instant sorcery build-around. Can't wait to play with the new one, or the various versions of Izzet. I think I'm going to experiment with some Izzet shenanigans just to, you know, have fun, build some new stuff. I do think I'm allied with the Golgari. I'm kind of pledging allegiance to them, but, you know, I want to play around with other stuff too. Maybe even Selesnya, you know, see the light, play around with that. Just have fun, build some new things. It's kind of the cool thing about Hearthstone and Magic is that, you know, anytime you want to play something new, there's a bunch of stuff you can play. You want to go control, you want to go aggro. There's a lot of stuff, so it's pretty fun in that sense. Here's the Artifact Payoff. Another one of these control-y kind of guys. You know, you can constantly put a 2 toughness or less creature back into your opponent's hand. Yeah, defending player controls. Yeah, cool. Another Sacrifice Outlet over here. Another one of those, you know, Izzet kind of build-arounds with spells, instants, and sorceries. Flying Hexproof, maybe, you know, I can, well, it's also a wizard, but it is blue-white, so I don't know. Might need to take that one out for the Legion Lieutenant. We'll see where that goes. The Legion Lieutenant is a 2/2, I think, +1/+1 for all vampires, or other vampires, if I'm not mistaken, so maybe put that, substitute that. Zertal Swine. Could be a finisher, we'll see. Crows to Gorgon, maybe if you make a counter synergy deck, because Wait. Oh no, it doesn't give it Death Touch. That'd be so cool. Oh my gosh. But I don't think that -1 does damage, so... Oh well. Still, you know, you could take out X2 creatures with 4 mana if you have 2 counters on something. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. Probably need to take this one out too, but we'll see. Garden of the Bloodflame. Regal Bloodlord, life gain synergy. Golgari Rotworm, maybe a sacrifice outlet. You attack with all your creatures, and then at the end, after you dealt a bunch of damage, you finish off the game by killing all of your own creatures. See how that works, maybe. You know, 5/4 for stats isn't that bad for 5 mana. I mean, it's slightly below average. I think average is like 5 mana, 5/5, right? Or 5 mana, 4/5. I don't know what the average is. Carrion Thrash. You know, interesting. Psychic Symbiont, very demure. Card advantage, discard, new draw card. Carnival Hellsteed. It's kind of the Rakdos. First Strike, Haste, Unleash. Ruination Worm, just a vanilla 7/6, but it's very big, monsterish kind of thing. So I thought, you know, even though it's a vanilla creature, it's, you know, you can throw it in here. And a go wide. Throw a bunch of stuff on the battlefield. And that's the creatures. And here's the multicolored spells. I'm going to try and get through this one a little bit more quickly. Some Dramatic Rescue. So this one, I think, for the spells, I was kind of struggling trying to find some good cards. So I might need to, you know, just throw in a few Ravnica cards, but I really want to make a separate new Guilds of Ravnica, maybe throw in some old Ravnica cards. You know, we'll see where that goes. But I do have an idea of, I want to build a completely separate cube with my new cards that I'm going to be collecting as I'm playing in the new standard, you know, getting new boosters, just slowly playing, building up my collection for Ravnica, and, you know, maybe buy some singles after the prices go down, and we'll try and improve this cube. But I do want to build a separate cube for Guilds of Ravnica, just to have, you know, essentially 2 board games I can pop out anytime, and we can draft and, you know, have fun. So that's where my multicolored's at. If you didn't get a good look at what these last 2 cards, I really like this one. I think this one's kind of interesting, even though it's 6 mana. But you know, we'll see how these cards go. They're expensive, but as far as mana cost, but you know, I don't know how playable they are. So last is artifacts and land, non-basic. So I think I need 15 more non-basic lands as far as my build, and I need, I think I got all my artifacts. So let's take a look at the artifacts first. So Fountain of Renewal, Explosive Evaporate. I'm playing with 34 artifacts, by the way, just to, you know, give a little bit of utility for everyone, and maybe there's some artifact matters, a little bit of life gain synergies in artifacts. So we'll see where this pans out. It's vanilla boring 2/1, but you know, if you need to, you gotta take it. If you need early game plays, got a Skimmer. Some life gain synergy, maybe, I don't know. Some fixing right here. Proliferate. Ogre Cleaver. So nothing, you know, a lot of these were from the bulk collection, but you know, I think they're great in the cube. I think they're totally playable in the cube. This one was from the Deck Builder's Toolkit, core set. This one you had to build around, I think. And here's a Manalith, a little bit of mana fixing. I think I threw in some key runes in here for additional mana, as well as, you know, they can become creatures. It's a little bit better than just being a mana rock, I think, right? I don't know, we'll see how it pans out in the cube. We'll see if it gets drafted. I think it will. Because, you know, I think they're decent as far as artifacts, if you want to build around artifacts. Pierce Strider, this one's a very good creature, I think, for an artifact, because, I mean, it's just a 4 mana 3/3, but then you get that -3 to your opponent. Sanctum Gargoyle, this one could possibly be good. Boom Keg, general 3 damage for 4 mana. Yeah, I guess we'll throw it in here, but, you know, Strandwalker. Razormane Masticore, probably not that good, but we'll see if anyone's crazy enough. I might be crazy enough to try and build around this. Guardians of Koilos, Yeah, this one's historic. Yeah, okay. This one's not that bad. I think, right? What can you... I don't know. I might need to swap this one out because there might not be a lot of good targets for, you know, bringing back a permanent that you control. Because that is a tempo loss. You want to bring back like an enter the battlefield effect or something. So, Gearsmith Guardian, blue, build around, 6 mana 4/4, but you know anyone can draft it, and a 7 mana general removal. Meteor Golem is pretty awesome, I think, in draft. So that's artifacts for right now. So in artifacts, I had 20 creatures and 14 non-creatures. And I think within those 14 non-creatures, 5 of them were equipment. Oh, I did have that one living creature, so, well, whatever. But as far as lands, I still need, I'm trying to reach 42 lands, I'm at 27 non-basic lands. So I need to do 15 more just because I want to have a guaranteed land pack, or 1 non-basic land in every pack with 7 random other stuff. So I'm trying to play with 8 packs, or 8 card packs, so we'll see where that goes. But anyways, here are the non-basic lands. Evolving Wilds, Terramorphic Expanse, give you a little bit of fixing. Unknown Shores, Holdout Settlement, Grove of the Guardian, and your Enter the Battlefield tapped lands, just a little bit of fixing. So yeah, nothing special. My lands are pretty, this one's from Explorers of Ixalan, but for the most part my lands suck. Because I just haven't invested in land. That's probably one of the biggest investments if you make into Magic is the land bases. And for me, I'm gonna try and do a bunch of monocolored budget builds just to, you know, experiment with a bunch of different decks that I want to play with. And you know, eventually I will get back into dual colored, especially Ravnica, obviously. But you know, for me, I wanna build budget decks and really just play around with all the different colors and see which ones I like, playing mono red, playing mono black, mono white, mono blue, maybe even mono green, maybe drop some money on Steel Leaf Champions. We'll see where it goes. But yeah, so I need to improve my non-basic lands. So that's my one weakness right now. I need 15 more non-basics, 2 multicolored cards that I'm looking for, Legion Lieutenant and the, what else was it? Oh yeah, and the Whiting Constrictor. So for the most part, my cube is complete as of right now. I do need more blue-black, I think, synergies. From what I wrote down in here in the notes, maybe the multicolored cards weren't as satisfactory. So maybe I can fulfill that with some more Ravnica stuff. This is I don't know how good this one is, but for blue-black, there's not a lot of stuff in here. So yeah, I definitely got to improve that. As far as Ravnica, maybe throw in 1 or 2 things in here just to balance things out, because everything else is more or less well represented, it seems like. But you know, we'll make those calls later as we improve the collection. But